Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's my opponent to go first. I have a blank, and I should have a bingo here. I have heronry with the blank as an H. But I suspect there are several more. So I'm going to mentally imagine the blank is each tile in turn. I'll also need to consider the floaters when my opponent has played. Well, that's the heronry play I've spotted. Haven't seen anything else so far. Right, heronry does play, but I'm going to finish this exercise since I'm so far through it. Okay, so heronry is the only 7 I've spotted. That plays in rows G and I, above and below the E of fuse. Ah, it also plays completely underneath. This is going to be a decent score. Heronry, 82 points. I need to make a decision now as to whether to look for a better bingo, which would be a double-double through the F of fuse, or a triple word play in column 8. I don't think either is going to score hugely more than this. And that looks pretty good. I may have a 7. Not too many floaters to consider, although there are a few letter pairs. So, firstly, do I have a 7-letter bingo? Looks close. The tiles are certainly synergetic. Well, I can't see one. Now, what about the floating Y? I've got the L and the IL for illy and lee endings. Well, nothing is coming to mind. Hopefully my opponent will provide some more floaters. Now, what about EN in column 8? Well, that's a pretty good set of 9 tiles. But I can't see a bingo. And the other pair to consider, I think, is UR in column 6. Nope, can't see anything there. Now I've got the A for going above ZO, and my C can go above UR. Well, that spot's been taken, and my opponent has provided no new floaters, and he's taken out all of the letter pairs. So, what can I do with this? I've got a 17-point lead, so despite my bingo, I'm not massively ahead. Now, I could play chart across here. And I think chert is good, and that will score more. Sorry, it'll score the same, but have a better rack leave. Now, what about churl, C-H-I-R-L? It would be nice to be sure of that. 33 points. Not a great rack leave. What about playing in row H, beginning above the Y of heronry? So do I have a 6-letter play beginning with A? Well, it looks like I might do. This is a nice set of tiles. Can't see it. So do I play chert, chart, churl? Or something else? I'm going to play chert. But is this good? I have a slight doubt, so I'm going to go with chart. And that's annoying, because if chert had been good, I would have had an A instead of an I, and I would have had elative on my rack. Mind you, it may not have played. So, do I have a bingo with this rack? I've got a new floater in the sea of chart to consider. Can't see anything through that, although I do have the IC ending. And I no longer have a tile for going above the Y for a row H play. This is quite a blocked board, which is okay right now because I'm slightly ahead. Good score for my opponent, 36 points. And I don't have a tile for going after whore. So what do I want to do? Certainly play off the V, the I, and the E. So I could play Veilie in column 10. This is not going to score very much, but it's quite blocky. Which is okay for the moment, because I'm ahead. Only 13 points. Surely I can do better than that. I'm looking to see if I can play down columns 3 or 4, beginning HO or HAW. No, can't see a way of doing that. I don't really like Veilie because it keeps EIT, it's vowel heavy, and it doesn't score very much. Let me consider this play. Evil. It's using the same tiles, slightly more points. Yeah, I think that's okay. Not a good rack. I've got Patui and Pafui, but this is not bingo-y. Now, row H is a hotter spot than before because there are some good tiles which can go in front of YE, but I can't see a 6-letter play on my rack. Well, what about Putty, P-U-T-T-I-E? I think that's good, and that will score reasonably well. But that spot could easily be taken. Now, do I have anything which goes after whore? No, I don't. A K or an S, I think, are the only tiles which work in that spot. The V prevents a good parallel play in row K for my opponent, or indeed for me. So what do I do if putty's blocked? I'd certainly want to play off one of my T's and the U and probably the F. Great. Putty stays available. My opponent scored well, 34 points, but he burned an S to achieve that score. Slight doubt about this. Could be just a Y ending, but I think it's good. And this is another non-bingo-y rack, but it's balanced in terms of vowels and consonants, and I've got scoring tiles in the B and the F. Just checking in my mind if I have to see if there is a possible bingo, 7 or 8 letters. I don't think there is. Couple of nice floaters in putty, the E and the T. And column 1 towards the bottom has a triple word square available. So I could play Fango, keeping BEE. Not a great rack leave. 27 points is quite good. Now I've got Phoebe and Beef on my rack. I'm looking to see if I can play them above putty, and I can't. I can place my G above the U of putty, but then GEE is all I can achieve, which is not very good. Now Hawes takes an E afterwards, and Hom takes an E, so I could play Phoebe at M2 across for a massive score. And there may be alternatives in that spot. But that's going to be scuppered if my opponent plays in column 1. A little staircase is developed from the middle down to the bottom left. And the V of evil is obstructing the bottom right. Okay, good score by my opponent, and he has blocked my fabulous spot. Homer only takes an S after it, so that's no good for me. Do I have something in column 1? Now this could really be a problem rack. I can play Agon, but I don't. That doesn't score very much, and it keeps the B and the F, and they do not go well together. I'm wondering if I have got anything in columns 12 or 13 onto a T and getting the word doubles. Well, I could play beget or begot. That's not great. It's providing an easy scoring opportunity for my opponent. We're dead level. So I don't think I've got anything in column 1. Just checking. Words beginning bag and fag and gag. Okay. So what else is there to consider? A play down from the V of evil. Nope, that's not going to use any of my good tiles. Well, I think I may have to play down onto one of the tiles in putty. I've got begone as a 6-letter play. I don't particularly want to burn both of my E's. This is really tough. Now, can I play in column 14, placing my B or my F on the triple letter square? Well, Can't see a good play there. I would have been to if I could play one tile after a T in putty. So, what I was thinking of was begot. Only 16 points. And I think this rack is slightly improved. I don't have a bingo that I can see, but it is balanced in terms of vowels and consonants. I'm looking in column 1 to see if I've got anything through A, G. And I'm certainly looking to play off the V and the F as well, if that's possible. Neither of those tiles is bingo-y. Now, a bingo for my opponent at this time would really hurt me, because I'm not going to be able to respond in kind, and this board is not open. But if my opponent doesn't bingo, great, he doesn't. Then I should be able to close the board up if I want. So I could play Vain down here, and although it doesn't play off the F, it's a pretty good rack leave because it's got the 4 prefix spelled with or without the E, and that's 30 points. That's a pretty good score. Now I know column 11 I could play in because I've got the O for going in front of BI and the F for going in front of ER. But I can't see a play ending OF. That's good. Let me just quickly put this back because I do have the over prefix. So I have over, F-E-N. Through an I would have over fine. Do I have anything through the E of putty? Nope. I think I will go with vain. This is a good score and a decent rack leave. This is looking a bit better. I'm not sure about 4 lean. Don't think that's good. F-O-R-E-L-E-A-N. I think I'm confusing it with 4 lane. Not many other floaters to consider. The E of putty is still just about available, and the C of chart is available, but the C of chart is likely only to be used with an IC ending word, and I don't have an I. And then there's the N of Nehru. So what about column 11, a word ending OF? Yep, 41 points for my opponent. He burns another S. He's only 14 points ahead. So his S's are not giving him a huge lead. So what I'm looking for is a word here, and I could just play OF. The rack leave isn't too bad. It's 27 points. The N is not a particularly dangerous floater if it can't be part of an ING ending word. And AEE is a reasonable set of vowels. There's not too many A's and E's left. Now, can I do better than this? I don't think there's a longer word ending OF. So that's fine. Now, I don't have a bingo here, and I have no scoring tiles. And I'm only 13 points ahead. Good score by my opponent. He's now taken a 20-point lead. So, what am I going to do with this? I could play V in column 11. Where else are there scoring tiles I can use? Well, nowhere. The trouble with V is that it provides an easy opportunity for my opponent to score. But if I don't play there, well, where do I play? Very few scoring spots on this board. So, I could play Veer, because the R and the L and the R and the N don't go great together. Can I do better than this? This provides such an easy spot for my opponent. Well, I think Veli's better. Doesn't put the vowel next to a premium square, and it's better to hang on to the R than the L. I draw the Q. Quite a few I's unplayed, but all the U's have gone. Well, that's a relief. Only 22 points for my opponent with his X. Now, can I play the Q? I've got 7 minutes left and there are 18 tiles in the bag. I've got the A, so onto a T I would have cat. Neither of my opponent's T's are in the right spot. Okay, I'm not going to change because the X is a really good spot for me. So I can play Dale or Dealey. Well, let me think about this. 6.5 minutes. 3 A's left. Only 1 E. So what do I want to do? Let me see what Dale scores. 30 points, that's pretty good. I don't really want to play off both E's because the E is a useful tile, but the E doesn't go well with the Q. If I keep the A, then I've got cat, caddy, etc. And I could play Dealey in this spot. I think there are 3 A's unplayed. So I'm going to go with this. Great, I draw an I and I've got Chi and Chin. I can play Chi at A12 down, Chi and in. It's not a huge score, but at this point I'm just looking to play the Q off. I've got 5.5 minutes left. There are 15 tiles in the bag, including 2 S's and a blank. Now, is there somewhere better for Chi or Chin? Actually, if I play Chi at A12, my rack leaves pretty good. A-E-I-N-R. And that spot stays available. My opponent's changed 5 tiles. It's good that he hasn't scored very much, but it's bad for me in the sense that he probably had a poor rack and is drawing a hugely bingo-y set of tiles. So Chi, 23 points. Can't see anywhere better. But I'm drawing just 2 tiles to a pretty bingo-y leave. Well, through a T I would have anti-hero. Do I have anything onto the C of chart? The tiles that are left are really bingo-y. And AT does take an S after it, so there is a 7-letter bingo lane in row N. And although a play in that spot will open up row O, it will only open it up for a massive overlap, so it's not going to open it up as a bingo lane. Column 9 is also available as a bingo lane for a bingo ending in S. So these are dangerous times. I'm just wondering if there's a vowel shortage. 6 vowels out of 20, a slight shortage. But the blank ought to be able to compensate for that. Goodness knows what the 5 tiles were that my opponent threw back. Yeah, pretty good, 64 points. So my opponent takes a 42-point lead. He provides no floaters. 6 tiles in the bag, they're suddenly not very bingo-y. So I don't need a bingo to win. What can I play? I could play Hin. 2 eyes unplayed. £30 points. Can I do something better than that? I've only got 4 minutes left. Now, this rack leave looks bad, but there are only 3 vowels left, so it's fine. If I don't go in this spot, my opponent will. There is still column 9 as a bingo lane for bingos ending in S, and there are 2 S's unseen. So if I draw an S to go with this rack leave, I'll have a pretty good rack. Is there something better than this? I'm wondering about playing an extra tile, because it would score an extra 10 points. So the H has got to be where it is. No, it doesn't. It could go here. I don't have anything for going after ATE. Well, that looks slightly better. 32 points. Ooh, not good. But look at the remaining tiles. There is only 1 vowel, and that's a pretty rubbish set of tiles, and I've got a scoring tile in the K. I'm 10 points behind. The J is the J and the M are the only really good scoring tiles. So I guess my opponent could play in column 9, playing a word beginning with J and ending in S, and that would really close the board down. So I've got 2.5 minutes left. I could play Oak in row N, making XO and tar. Great, not the... Well, my opponent's burnt an S. I don't have anything for going after ST. I've got 2.5 minutes left. Where can I play my K? There's 1 tile left. So I'm 26 points behind. How can I win this without needing a bingo? I could play Cane across here. 18 points. Rack leave's pretty good. And I'm providing a spot in row C for playing it. My opponent is not going to play out. So it's quite good for me to create a 6-letter 6-letter lane. Now, am I missing a a spot for a 30-point play with my K? Don't think so. Crikey, I've drawn the vowel. My opponent's got no vowels. And I've got no scoring tiles. I'm 8 points behind. But I've only got 1 minute on the clock. I could play IO in column 15 for 8 points. That's poor. Very few scoring opportunities on this board. My opponent can stick the S on the end of core, but that's not doing much. I don't want to stick my vowels out in the open in case my opponent uses them. 20 points. Oh, that's a lot. So I can play IO here. Now, I want to go out next go. So do I have a 4-tile play that goes underneath K? So word ending KO, so in row works. That would mean I'd have to play off IE somewhere. No, what else ends O or I? Okay, I'm going to play IO. Running out of time here, 20 seconds left. Can't see anywhere for anything. I've only got my I for going after K. But I don't have a play after K. I don't have a 5-letter play in column 2, which would have been nice, ending IC. I could play Eric in that spot, but that's providing an opportunity for my opponent. Now, can I play in row O, beginning with the Y? Well, only yen. Ah, I didn't see my opponent had played. Okay, so I can play yin here. Now, do I have somewhere for RE? I've got rec in column 6, rec and ed, and I've got re in row K. I've got ER in row L, making est. What else is there? Eight points for my opponent. So, this is what I saw. I saw 8 here. 6 here, rather. What else did I see? 20 seconds left. Yep, can't see anything. Ah, refer. It's going to be slightly better. 8 points. Right, well, that's quite a grim end game. And the final score, 392 to me, 401 to my opponent. So a winning margin for him of 9 points. I had not seen that he had played and my clock was ticking down, and that incurred a 10-point penalty which cost me the game. But things like that can happen. Now, well done to my opponent, but let's see what I missed. So, my opponent went first. I played Heronry, and that was the only bingo. I'm surprised, and I'm glad I didn't spend time looking for a better one. Great, I didn't miss a bingo here, but there was a 6-letter play on top of the Y of Heronry. Archill for 47 points, and Churl, Chert were all good. Now, here, only low-scoring plays available. What did I do? I played evil for 16. Yeah, I don't think any of those plays are hugely better. This is where I played putty for 35 points, and I could have played uplift at h13. Where's that? Oh, I see. Through the L of evil. Yeah, that would have been nice, but it would have been putting a U next to a double letter square in row H, which would have been less good. So I think putty is fine. Now this is where my rack deteriorated, and no good plays begot. Looks fine. Forever E7. Okay, that would have been quite nice because it would have scored well. It would have cleared out the F and the V, and I only got 4 more points for Vane, although FORE is not a bad rack leave. No missed bingos here, and only low-scoring plays. What did I do? I played of for 27. That looks fine. Wow, nothing over 20. That's pretty dismal. I played Valley for 14. That looks as good as anything else. My opponent was really suffering from no vowels. And this is where I hesitated over playing Delhi or Dale. I think that would need analysis. Gosh, my poor opponent. Look at that. Truly horrible. He changed one. Okay. I suspect he changed more. Now, this is where I played Chi at A12, and that was the best place to play it. Yeah, I think my opponent changed 5 tiles, and he now does have a good rack. Let's see what he had. He had a whole bunch of bingos. What did he do? He played one of them. Now, this was my rack. And this is where I was considering my options in row O. And I think Hoa would have been better. I think keeping the I, even though there are I's unseen, may be worthwhile because of column 2 for bingos ending IC. Although I didn't need a bingo to win. But I think row O is clearly the place to play. Now here, I had 2.5 minutes left. There was one tile in the bag, which turned out to be the I. I played Cane. What are the choices? Wow, several 30-point plays at D9. Ah, making cork. I didn't consider that my K could go on the end of core. Yeah, all of those 30-point plays look pretty good. But they mainly... Well, I suppose Naik is quite nice. N-A-I-K, keeping EOR, given the vowel drought. So yeah, I think playing one of those would have been best. Horrible, horrible rack for my opponent. But he does have a slight lead. And that was a good spot. 20 points. Now here, I only had 1 minute 14 seconds left. I knew my opponent's rack. He had 6 awful tiles. So what I was really looking to do here was play out in 2. And under time pressure, I didn't identify an out in 2. So let's see what is recommended. Oh, wow. I could have gone out in 1 with Oniric in column 2 onto the sea of chart. Well done if you spotted that. I completely missed it. Tricky word to see, but I didn't look for it. And it's hard. Well, in terms of the other moves, it's very hard to judge because most of them involve sticking a vowel into the open, which my opponent could use. And that isn't necessarily fatal, but you really need the time to work out, well, if I play this, then he plays that, and then I go out with this. But certainly Oniric was the winning play. I played IO for 8, which is not good since I didn't have an out. My opponent played Dar, and that's the move I missed. And here I didn't have an out, so IO was really poor because I was looking for a 2-move out, and I just didn't see one. And at this point I played yin for 6, and, well, I could have got 4 more points by playing in. My opponent played mu, and refer was the highest scoring outplay, and the 10-point penalty then cost me the game. So a grim end to the game, but some games end like it, and it's a different element of Scrabble when you're looking at a blocked board and you're looking for outs in 2. And it's at this stage that you really want to have 5 or even more minutes in the bank to really concentrate. But these endings happen insufficiently often to mean that you should always leave yourself enough time to cover them, because if you always leave yourself 5 to 10 minutes to cover this sort of ending, most of the time these sorts of endings won't happen and you'll have rushed your other moves. So that was quite a good illustration of this type of end game. So I hope you enjoyed watching that and got something out of it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.